Right now at 5, authorities investigate the cause of the fire that burned a former industrial complex in Lamar, Missouri.
And we have isolated thunderstorm chances for your 4th of July forecast.
Plus, as vacationers head out to lakes and rivers, we have advice from experts on keeping you and your family safe on the waterways.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you. She mentioned right when I got in, I missed the 4th of July theme. I forgot about it this morning. Where was my head? I don't know. And I'm disappointed, but you look great.
I am festive for the both of us, but I know you have some festive surprises as well in your weather graphics that I think will make up for.
Festive surprises may not be the right term because we have thunderstorm chances, unfortunately, but we can go ahead and take a look at our forecast outside. We're going to have temperatures that reach the upper 80s, but as you can see, isolated thunderstorm chances. Now, these aren't going to be widespread or a big threat here, but we do want to keep an eye on them, and I'll go through those in just a bit. But right now, current temperatures are in the low 70s, so it's still a nice morning, a little cooler out there, but those temperatures are going to spike pretty quickly. So I think we're going to enjoy the cooler temperatures before they get up into the 80s and 90s. Now, we have no clouds outside currently. We are expecting a few more clouds to make an appearance later this evening, late tonight, along with, again, isolated thunderstorm chances during the day. Now, once we go through the morning hours, we get a little bit of fog, so visibility drops down to 4 miles in Carl Junction. Oswego, 2.5 miles. Parsons, less than a half a mile visibility, and this is through the next couple of hours. Once we get into about 7:15, 8 a.m., so when you're making your way, if anyone still has to go to work this morning, it is going to be a little bit lower visibility on our western counties out in southeastern Kansas and Oklahoma. You can see less than a quarter mile or half a mile visibility in Welsh. Independence, less than half a mile visibility. That does burn off rather quickly, and then again, those isolated thunderstorm chances do start to make their appearance by noon. Now you can see out in the Pineville area, just moving up north of where Bentonville is, as we continue to move north into the Joplin area, you can see we've got those thunderstorms. This is now 2 p.m. They're very short-lived, quick little pop-up thunderstorms. No severe threat with any of these, but they can drop quite a bit of rainfall just in the few minutes that they are there. And then by 2:30, that one storm is out of the area, moving north up into possibly up to Lamar, but it does burn off quickly. And then we're going to have another couple of isolated thunderstorms. Parsons getting some by about 4:30, again, just south of Joplin. And then we also have out near the Cassville area. Now those start to clear out by about 7 to 7:30. Perfect timing for the fireworks later on this evening, but we have additional chances of rain this weekend, and I'll have all those details coming up.
Lindsay, thanks. The Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office yesterday evening is investigating 2 unrelated incidents in southwest Missouri, a big industrial fire in Lamar and an explosion in Joplin. We start with the explosion that rocked a Joplin neighborhood yesterday afternoon and sent at least 2 people to the hospital. The blast tore through a shed in the backyard of a home in the 2500 block of South Virginia Avenue around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Neighbors say the force shook windows up to 2 blocks away. 47-year-old Justin Rankin was rushed to the hospital where he later died due to his injuries. A juvenile female also sustained injuries and is currently listed in stable condition. Investigators from both the JPD and the State Fire Marshal's Office have been talking with neighbors, trying to gather information. State investigators are also looking into an overnight fire at the building of the former O'Sullivan Industrial Complex in Lamar, Missouri. KOAM's Anthony Saviello was there and reports on what's now considered a criminal investigation.
You can see smoke and flames still coming out of the structure behind me. What used to be known as the O'Sullivan building is now in ruins. Smoke billowing out hundreds of feet into the air and fire still consuming this structure. We spoke to City Administrator Rusty Rives, and he tells us more about the criminal investigation ongoing into the cause of this fire.
Currently, the Missouri State Fire Marshal's Office and the Lamar Police Department are investigating any criminal activity that may have taken place. My understanding is, as of this morning, they do have 2 individuals detained for questioning. I have not received an update on their status.
Now, this building has a lot of history to it, and many businesses and companies were actually using this building for storage and warehousing. Much of the material inside was fiberglass material, is what we have been told. Now, we actually spoke to a gentleman who works here at the warehouse, and he was here when the fire broke out, and he tells us what exactly was going through his mind at that point in time.
In that moment, I'm a dad. These are my guys, you know. I've been with them for forever, and you know, I didn't want anything to happen to them. So my first instinct, you know, I guess my dad instincts kicked in. I was making sure I wanted to protect anybody I could, even if that meant, you know, risking my life or anything, or, you know, I just wanted to make sure everyone was safe. And, you know, because like I said, you know, this can be rebuilt.
Now, as of right now, we have no real further updates into the investigation into this fire, but it is important to note that anyone who is coming through this area just needs to stay safe and stay cautious. This is still an active crime scene, and the structure is still burning. In Lamar, Missouri, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Law enforcement has not released any further information in regards to the criminal investigation. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. The Missouri Highway Patrol reports that a Wentzville, Missouri man drowned Wednesday evening at the Lake of the Ozarks. This is file footage of the lake. Troopers say the 70-year-old man fell overboard from his bass boat at the 8-mile mark of the Workman Hollow Cove. They say a bystander pulled the man from the water, but authorities pronounced him dead at the scene. While next of kin have been notified, authorities have not publicly released the man's name. The Army Corps of Engineers and safety patrols predict packed lakes around the Ozarks and Arkansas through Sunday. Many of you will be heading to the water this holiday weekend, but there are things you can do to safely have fun. For starters, boaters should reduce their speeds and try to give other boats more room. Be sure you have a designated driver, and remember, everyone on the boat needs a properly fitting life jacket. Groups can also be proactive in staying safe by making an emergency plan that involves everyone on board.
Maybe even have a spotter on your boat letting you know where folks are. Table Rock, Beaver, Bull Shoals, all those lakes are going to be very packed. And they've all got high water right now too. So there is some debris floating around. So slow down even just a little bit more and watch out for that floating debris and watch out for each other.
A few other safety precautions: check the weather consistently while boating and make sure all lights on your boat work. Kansas is making some changes to its put the phone down law. One change is drivers under 18 are now completely prohibited from holding or using a mobile phone while driving. There are fines in place for violations, especially for infractions in construction zones. That fine is automatic. What remains unchanged under the law is all drivers are still banned from reading, writing, or sending text messages while the vehicle is in motion. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The U.S. economy added a stronger than expected 147,000 jobs for the month of June. Plus, today, President Trump will sign a major spending bill and talk with Ukraine's leader about the ongoing war. And we have a hot and mostly sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Lindsay Gaffney in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch. Employment seekers have plenty of options. The U.S. economy added 147,000 jobs last month, according to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's higher than many economists had forecasted and is a slight bump from the 144,000 gained during the month of May. The national unemployment rate in June also fell 0.1% to 4.1%. Later today, President Donald Trump is expected to mark this 4th of July by signing the massive spending bill Congress passed yesterday. But first, he plans to speak with the president of Ukraine in a push to bring an end to the more than 3-year-old Russia-Ukraine war. President Trump says he was, quote, very disappointed after a call with Russia's president yesterday. Chapman Bell has more from London.
Fresh off celebrating his big domestic policy win,
Congress passed the one big, beautiful bill to make America great again.
President Trump is now turning his focus to ending the Russia-Ukraine war. The president says he'll speak with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky today.
We count on continuation of American support.
Zelensky has said he wants to discuss the White House's pause on some weapon shipments to Ukraine.
We've given so many weapons, but we are giving weapons, and we're working with them and trying to help them.
Their call comes a day after President Trump said he didn't make any progress in a push for a ceasefire during a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin yesterday.
I don't think he's there, and I'm very disappointed. I don't think he's looking to stop.
Overnight, Ukraine said it was hit by a barrage of Russian drones and missiles, a day after Russia said a Ukrainian strike killed a top Navy commander. After the Trump call, a Putin spokesman said the Russian leader is willing to continue talks toward a political solution, but he will not back down from his objectives in the conflict. The Kremlin said the two also discussed Iran. It's been nearly 2 weeks since the U.S. bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Yesterday, the president signaled he's open to restarting talks with Iran. Chapman Bell, CBS News.
President Trump says letters will be sent to 10 to 12 countries today, informing them of the tariffs they could soon face on goods they send to the U.S. The president's pause on his so-called reciprocal tariffs is set to expire next week. Still to come, a new study reveals that teen drivers are more likely to be distracted on their phones while driving. Plus, Lindsay Gaffney returns with another look at your Friday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. A suspected drunk driver plows into an upscale art festival, narrowly missing 2 security guards and causing damages estimated to top $100,000. Jeremy Roth has that story and more, and today's Take a Look at This.
Take a look at what was left behind after a suspected drunk driver crashed into a prepped pop-up art festival in New York. Police say it happened when the driver plowed through a series of art exhibits set up in a plaza in upscale Montauk at roughly 3 in the morning. One organizer told WCBS the vehicle nearly hit 2 security guards as it barreled through tents at the planned event, but thankfully the pair escaped uninjured. The driver of the vehicle received only minor injuries and was later charged. At least 6 tents stocked with artworks and wares were damaged or destroyed in the incident, and combined estimates from 2 of the artists place the potential value of the damages north of $100,000. A wild incident caught on camera in South Carolina shows a small plane crash that left an aircraft upside down on the ground. Surveillance captured the plane's rough landing that ultimately left it topsy-turvy in the field. Officials tell WHNS the pilot was uninjured and had already exited the crashed craft as responders arrived. WYFF later reported the pilot intentionally flipped the craft to avoid further damage. Crews were eventually able to turn the inverted plane back onto its belly. Speaking of bellies, how's that for an unexpected segue? Did you know it's sploot season? That's according to the National Park Service, which shared a host of images of various critters splooting, a slang term Dictionary.com defines as an animal laying splayed out on its stomach, likely to relax or stay cool. Hey, with summer temps on the rise, we humans could be forgiven for a soothing sploot or two, and if you feel so inclined, NPS's low-key hilarious social media account advises to sploot like nobody's watching. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Now, personally, I've never heard about splooting season, but I think it may be one of my favorite seasons. But here to tell us about our current season is Lindsay with a quick look at your forecast.
Well, it is 4th of July, and we do have warm temperatures, which is a good thing, but we also have isolated thunderstorm chances. Those are going to start right after noon, right around 1 p.m., and then isolated thunderstorms do continue until about 7 to 8 p.m., maybe going as far as 10. So we do have these chances of random thunderstorms. They're not long-lived, and they are not going to be severe, but they are going to add to our humidity, so although temperatures are in the upper 80s, it's going to feel like mid-90s today. Well, happy 4th of July. And as we're heading through the day, temperatures are going to be pretty nice. We're in the upper 80s, so it's not going to be too hot outside. But we do have these isolated thunderstorm chances in the afternoon. Now, our high temperature for the day getting up to about 89 degrees. But our humidity is going to be high due to these isolated thunderstorms. So by 2 o'clock, you can see where our isolated thunderstorms are going to be. It just expands that moisture across the area. So although we're in 50% relative humidity in the northern counties, where the thunderstorms are, we're up to 75–80% relative humidity. So it is going to be muggy after these storms pass. Now they're going to continue to move up to the north. They're pushing in from the south. So in those areas, we're up to 85% humidity in Neosho by 4:30. It is going to be hot and muggy, which just means that our humidity or our heat index is going to spike as well up into the mid-90s. Now back to our current forecast. We don't have any clouds or rain in the 4 states just yet. It's looking pretty good so far this morning. Now we are expecting a few of these clouds. You can see where they kind of end right there. Those are going to be pushing into the area late this evening. And of course, we're going to have clouds where we get those isolated thunderstorms. Now taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh. Looking really good. We've got these clear skies. In some back roads, we're going to have a lot of fog developing tonight and into early in the morning in the next couple of hours, around 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. when it finally burns off. Now, temperatures currently 72 degrees, so not a bad start to our 4th of July. But like I said, we have these isolated rain chances starting after noon, so they're going to be around 1 p.m., 5 p.m., 7 p.m., all the way until tomorrow morning. So just these low chances, 15 to 20% chance of these isolated thunderstorms tonight and through the rest of, or today through the rest of the evening. Now, as we head into the weekend, temperatures remain in the upper 90s, about the same as what we're going to see today, but we have scattered thunderstorm chances on Saturday due to a front passing, gusty winds associated with that, and then more pop-up storms on Sunday. So let's go ahead and take a look at that future track. Now, as we're continuing to make it through, again, talking about those pop-up thunderstorms, very random thunderstorms today, no severe threat, but they are going to be dropping a bit of rainfall as they pass by, and they're pretty quick moving, short-lived little summer thunderstorms. Now we're going to have those north or southerly winds. Those are going to be gusting 15 miles per hour today. So we want to keep an eye on just winds that could affect any fireworks going off. Now, as we get through Saturday morning, 4 a.m., you can see how some storms start to push in from the west. Now, starting off, we've got our little front passing, but then here comes that gust front. That's what I'm more concerned about with our wind threat tomorrow. And right now, no risk for severe weather, but we still want to keep an eye on that 30–40 mile per hour winds ahead of this little system. Now, it'll continue to pass by mid-morning until about 12:30. You can see now starting to make it along I-44, pushing south of I-44 by about 3 to 3:30. And again, not a huge severe threat, but we do want to keep an eye on that. Now that'll clear out and we're back to mostly sunny skies for the afternoon. Clouds return overnight, and then as we head through Sunday, again, some clouds, but overall not a bad day. Now, not a lot of rain associated with the isolated thunderstorms today, but we could get a little bit more rain accumulation as we head through Saturday. Now, we've got more thunderstorm chances through midweek next week, but that's a look at your forecast. Let's go over to Health Watch.
Thanks, Lindsay. A group of doctors and veterinarians warn the idea proposed by the Trump administration to allow the bird flu to spread is dangerous and unethical. In a letter published by the American Association for the Advancement of Science, doctors say if we don't stop the spread of avian flu, the virus could evolve, kill hundreds of millions of birds, and cost the U.S. billions. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy has suggested it's better to allow the virus to spread in order to identify birds that are naturally resistant. A new study shows Black people who go to the ER for opioid overdoses can sometimes receive different treatment than white people. Research published in JAMA found while around 10% of white patients who went to the ER for overdoses were referred for outpatient treatment, only about 6% of Black patients got the same referral. For people with opioid use disorders, access to addiction care and medication can save lives. Teen drivers spend more than 20% of their time behind the wheel looking at their phones. In a survey by Mass General Brigham, many teens admitted they glance at their phone for 2 seconds or longer, often to watch videos or read texts. Distracted driving can significantly increase the chance of a crash. That's a look at some of today's top health. Right now at 5:30, the Byers Avenue United Methodist Church is helping to sweeten your day and support local organizations at the same time.
And we have isolated thunderstorm chances as we go through this 4th of July.
Plus, some area fireworks stands hope holiday business will light a fire under the spirit of giving.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM News Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
And we're celebrating a very happy 4th of July today. You know, I'm excited for celebrations, but it sounds like weather may put a dampen on some of it.
Do you have big 4th of July plans?
I'm going out to the lake, and I know I'm going to try to shoot off some fireworks. So it's going to be good.
Exciting.
So
well, we're going to hope that no isolated thunderstorms happen at the lake, but we do have those chances today. So let's go ahead and take a look at our 4th of July forecast. Now, temperatures are going to reach the upper 80s, so overall, it is a pretty great day outside of just those random pop-up thunderstorms. Now, currently, temperatures are in the low 70s. As you can see, not a cloud in sight out there, though clouds are going to start to filter in the next couple of hours. You can see they're just hanging outside of our area. We're also starting this morning off with a bit of fog in some areas, especially on the Kansas and Oklahoma side. You can see we've got less than a half a mile visibility in Parsons, Fort Scott, down to about a mile and a half visibility in Girard, Independence, Nowata, Welch, Columbus area. So we want to keep an eye on that as we go through the rest of the morning, 7:15, 7:30. We're going to see less widespread fog, but more dense fog, really focusing on that southeastern Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma area. So I want to keep an eye on that. Now, as we continue into the rest of the day, like I said, we're going to see these pop-up thunderstorms originating from the south. They're going to be moving in from the south. Bentonville getting some thunderstorms. Pineville area moving up towards the Joplin region by about 2 to 2:30. They clear out very quickly. So these are what we expect in the summertime. These are our normal summertime thunderstorms. You can see just to the west of Columbus, Oswego area, out there in Elk County as well. So those are going to continue to push up to the north through the mid-afternoon hours. This is now 4:30. We might have a second round of thunderstorms hitting the Joplin Metro, an area hitting just to the west of Parsons as well. So those are going to continue to move all the way up to Nevada, Fort Scott, even out to the Stockton area if people are out on the lake. We want to keep an eye on all of those that are going to be passing over the next couple of hours, but then heading into Saturday, as you can see, we've got more thunderstorms coming, so I'm going to have all those details coming up.
Lindsay, thanks. Quapaw Child Care Development Fund is hosting a creation station for all Quapaw children on the powwow grounds. Each craft is designed to teach a little of Native American heritage. One of the stations concerns planting crops they refer to as the Three Sisters: corn, beans, and squash. They also made sun catchers, Play-Doh crafts, and more. The activities are designed for togetherness.
We try to bring as much as we can into their Native American culture. The Three Sisters is really a major thing that we do. It talks about how the plants grow and how they affect each other, and so it's really important. And we've got some other things that they can do, the beading with the hair pipe beads and stuff like that. So it's just all neat ways for them to just not even realize that they're learning, but we kind of like to call it accidental learning.
This event is a part of the Quapaw Powwow happenings this weekend. They say the early bird catches the worm, but at Byers Avenue United Methodist Church, the early birds baked up 400 fresh pies yesterday. Starting at 6 a.m., the church bakers whipped up cherry, pecan, sugar-free apple, lemon meringue, and more for their annual pie sale. You still have time to pre-order and pick up for pies on Saturday. Remember, it's more than just pie. It's a sweet way to give back to the community.
I think it's individual attention to each pie. There's nothing that is made out of a box or anything like that. We make the crust homemade, fillings homemade, and just years of experience in working together.
All proceeds support local nonprofits. While this year's recipients haven't been selected yet, in the past the church has donated to organizations like One Joplin and Crosslines. For many people, buying fireworks is part of the Independence Day celebrations. And while that may be true, some local fireworks stands says it's so much more than that. KOAM's Lonnie Walton checked out 2 stands whose owners say they hope the holiday will be a boom for fundraising.
We are back up and running.
Christy Harold operates a fireworks tent at Nevada Speedway. Early this week, the tent was a victim of a huge storm. Now she says things are back in order. She says that's good for local vets who will be working at the tent.
If you're sweating and working to build a new hall for our VFW here in Nevada. 50 to 50-some years old is the building that they're congregating in now and meeting in, and so we're a little too small. We're starting to outgrow it.
And she's not the only fireworks stand fighting to support her community. Travis Hurley from Water Gardens Ministries says all proceeds from his fireworks stand will help people get off the streets.
Coming out of addiction and recovery programs, they come into this Forge campus, and then they have an opportunity over the course of 16 to 18 months to kind of set a new trajectory for their life. By the time they graduate, they've got their own place to live, they're off of all government assistance, they're fully employed, they're self-insured.
Hurley says this program really works.
We had 212 folks that came into shelter unemployed that left with jobs.
Both Hurley and Harold want locals to have fun celebrating the holiday, but remember to put others first.
Typically bring in about $10,000 a year because the community supports that, and that helps to make sure that at least one guy gets through the program.
They gave so much, but yeah, they still keep giving. They still keep coming out here.
Reporting in the 4 states, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
The Nevada Speedway will also be selling $1 hot dogs today. All proceeds will go directly to local nonprofit organizations. If your 4th of July plans have you staying in the area, but you're looking for something to do, don't worry, we've got you covered. Simply scan this QR code on your screen and head over to KOAMnewsnow.com to check out a list of Independence Day events right here in our area. You can find great food, great live music, great family fun, and plenty of fireworks shows. Celebrate the holiday right here in the 4 states. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. This year's holiday travel brings lower gas prices, and TSA reminds flyers to leave fireworks at home. Plus, Nissan is recalling thousands of vehicles due to an engine issue. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, before you hit the road this July 4th, a big car recall. Nissan is recalling 480,000 vehicles because the engines can lose power while in use. It affects Rogue, Altima, and Infiniti compact SUV models from the years 2019 to 2022. Owners of impacted models will be alerted via mail to take their vehicles to a dealership for a free repair. The more than 61 million Americans who are getting behind the wheel this holiday weekend are on track to see lower prices at the pump compared to last year. AAA says average nationwide prices of a gallon of regular unleaded gas was $3.16 yesterday, around a 40-cent drop from this time last year. Meanwhile, TSA expects more than 18.5 million travelers to hit the airways, and they're warning flyers to leave their fireworks and sparklers at home. And while people can score freebies and festive foods at chains nationwide this Independence Day, Krispy Kreme has themed donuts and is giving out a free original glazed donuts to customers who wear red, white, and blue. Sonic app users can get free shakes as part of the chain's summer-long Live Free Friday promotion. Rita's has launched a line of Rocket Pop items in its limited-time firecracker glitter topping for a fun explosion of flavor. That's it for Consumer Watch this morning. Here's Lindsay with a quick look at your forecast.
Well, as we go through the afternoon for this 4th of July, temperatures are going to creep up through the 80s into the upper 80s, maybe even reaching 90 degrees briefly, but we do have isolated thunderstorm chances. These are not going to be widespread. They are not long-lived, and they are also not severe. So we don't have a big threat there, but they could just be a little disruptive as we're out celebrating the 4th of July and Independence Day. That also will add to the humidity, making temperatures feel like they're in the mid-90s today.
If you're driving for the 4th of July weekend, it looks like you'll save a little money at the pump. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Michelle Rook with this Ag Day Minute. AAA says gas prices are near their lowest level since 2021 as we move into the 4th of July weekend. Right now, the national average is $3.16 a gallon for regular gas. That's a 35-cent drop compared to the same time last year. But depending on where you drive, you could find quite a range of prices, with gas under $2.50 a gallon in the Southeast and Great Lakes. Market watchers say the drop can be attributed to lower prices for oil after President Trump's announcement of a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Lots of people will be enjoying cheeseburgers this holiday weekend. USDA's Economic Research Service is saying they will cost more this year. It says the ingredients to make a cheeseburger added up in May to $2.40 per burger. Now that's a more than 8% increase from last year. The cost of ground beef making up the largest chunk of the cost and increase at $1.50. And if you're eating out this weekend, Lawn Starter is out with its 10 best barbecue cities. It put Kansas City, Missouri, the self-proclaimed barbecue capital of the world, at the top of the list. That's followed by Los Angeles, which the survey says has the best access to barbecue establishments, followed by Houston, St. Louis, and Austin, Texas. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on this station or get updates at agweb.com.
Now here's Lindsay with a full look at your forecast.
Well, as we're heading through the 4th of July, temperatures are going to warm up to the mid to upper 80s. So by noon, we're already about 86 degrees, 5 p.m. That's our high for the day, getting up to about 89 degrees. But you can see we've got these isolated thunderstorm chances. Now, those aren't going to be long-lived, and they're not going to be a severe threat, but they could be disruptive. They're dropping quite a bit of rainfall in the quick amount of time that they are actually hitting the surface. In addition to actually just causing rainfall, they're also going to spike our humidity. So as we go through the afternoon hours today, this is now 2 p.m. where we're having our first round of isolated thunderstorms, going to be south of I-44 in the Neosho Anderson area, Pineville. You can see where humidity goes up from the 50% range to the 70s and even up to 80% range. That's going to continue through the afternoon as those storms continue to push in from the south, moving north. Now, that does drive up our humidity and our heat index as well. So although temperatures are only going to be in the mid to upper 80s, it's going to feel like 90s. Until then, though, we've got a great start to the day. Clear skies. We do have a few clouds that could be potentially moving in over the next couple of hours or holding off until later on this evening. So we might get a nice chance for some sunny skies. Now you can see, taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh, we've got mostly clear skies, a little bit of fog out there, especially on back roads. So you want to watch that if you're making your way through the area this morning. And we're starting off in the low 70s. So again, a pretty nice start to the day. Look at that sunrise, just gorgeous outside. But we do have those rain chances that are going to start right around 12 to 1 p.m. Now again, no severe threat. Those do continue, but they're not long-lived and they're not widespread. They're hitting very small areas, neighborhoods at a time. Not a big threat there. Now, as we continue into the weekend, we're going to have more widespread rain chances on Saturday, early Saturday during the daytime hours, mid-morning to early afternoon, and then later in the evening and into Sunday. But by Sunday, we're back to those pop-up isolated thunderstorms that we're seeing today. So as we continue to go through the area today, again, just those random thunderstorms, they're going to be popping up across the region, but staying mostly sunny. We also have southerly winds gusting 15 to even pushing up to 20 miles per hour at times. So we want to keep an eye on that as well, just because people are shooting off fireworks. You don't want a spark to fly off somewhere. So keep an eye on that. Now, heading into Saturday, that's where we're going to see our widespread rain. So here comes our first little initial batch of rain, showers and thunderstorms. This is 4 a.m. Those will continue to push in, but our bigger threat, again, no threat for severe weather, but there could be a higher chance when we get into it a little bit more tomorrow. This is 10:30, but we've got that little gust front with winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour, staying below severe limits, but still, you never know. We want to watch that. Those are going to continue to push through by midday Saturday, 12:30 to 1 p.m., and then hitting south of I-44 by about 3:30 to 4 p.m. So that's going to be later half of the afternoon. Then the rest of the day is looking fantastic. Sunny skies return. So if we have more 4th of July festivities tomorrow night, it's still going to be pretty nice for it. Clouds come back by overnight hours, a few more pop-up showers and thunderstorms overnight and into Sunday. Now you can see we don't have a lot of rain accumulation for today, but tomorrow could see up to ½ an inch of rain. So we want to watch that. Now, isolated thunderstorm chances, pop-up thunderstorm chances continue till midweek next week. So we've got a lot going on this week, but that's a look at your forecast. Let's go over to Sam with sports.
Thanks, Lindsay. Today in sports, the 2025 Wrestling Junior Nationals takes place next week in Fargo, North Dakota. And several of our local wrestlers from Southeast Kansas have earned spots there. They'll be making the trip to the Fargo Dome to compete against the best of the best.
It's a really good experience. It's something I've never done before. I've never done something this big before, so that's new. It gets me out of my comfort zone, and Andy's really been talking about how there's a lot of colleges there, so like you get seen by all these colleges and you get all these opportunities.
I get really excited because it's just more opportunities to be able to wrestle better girls and just grow in the sport and learn more about it.
Exposes me to more things that I haven't seen and just puts me up against better competition.
I hope that everything that I've been practicing for, like I do some of the stuff that I've been wanting to do, like a lot of the moves.
I'm just excited to get some summer wrestling in to prepare me for the season. I feel like if you're doing stuff over the summer, you're definitely going to get better. I hope it's going to benefit my wrestling season, my high school career.
Well, the people who aren't doing it aren't getting like the work in. And if you are doing that, you're getting extra time in and doing extra.
Switching gears to collegiate summer baseball, the Joplin Outlaws just keep on winning. They've got 7 consecutive victories entering last night. The Outlaws look to make it 8 in a row, taking on the Shadow Cats. Ty Zaradnick on the mound for Joplin. In the third, he strikes out on the side. He goes 6 innings, allowing just 1 earned run with 7 strikeouts. In the bottom of the inning, Andre Jackson gets things started, flipping a single into right field. He steals 2 bases to get to third. Then Ravon Morgan flies one to no man's land. Nobody's there to catch it, and Jackson scores easily. The Outlaws lead 3-1. Another run scores, and then with 2 men on, Mark Ross goes opposite field, deep into the right, and gone. The Outlaws tack on 5 in the third. And they don't stop there. They explode for 12 runs and take down Sherman 12-1 in 7 innings, securing their 8th win in a row. In Major League Baseball, the Cardinals had the night off after getting swept by the Pirates, and the Royals finish up a 4-game road set against the Mariners. Late start to this one on the West Coast. The Kansas City Royals go on to win this one, final score 3-2. Now the Royals go to Arizona to face the Diamondbacks for the 3 games. In the past several years, gambling has become much less taboo in the world of professional and college sports, but that's led to a few major scandals recently. According to ESPN's Jeff Payson, Major League Baseball has begun an investigation into Cleveland Guardians pitcher Luis Ortiz after a bet integrity firm flagged 2 separate pitches for unusual gambling activity. The alert reportedly references wagers placed on Ortiz's first pitches of the inning on June 15th and June 27th, and both pitches were well outside of the strike zone. MLB placed Ortiz on the non-disciplinary paid leave through July 17th, and this comes in the same wake that federal authorities have begun an investigation into Detroit Pistons guard Malik Beasley on allegations of gambling on NBA games and prop bets. Multiple financial issues and lawsuits have come to light regarding the 28-year-old, including failure to pay rent on his high-rise apartment in Detroit. That's a look at some of the top sports headlines. We'll be right back. Ice is helping polar bears and other animals get by during an extreme heat wave going through Europe. Alut and Gregor are polar bears, and they're keeping cool by rolling around in ice that was distributed to their open-air enclosure. Prague Zoo Director Miroslav Bobek says they believe they will need to hand out ice to some animals at least 10 days this summer. He says polar bears are a huge concern during these high temperatures. 10 tons of ice were distributed to the animals at the zoo. The zoo gives out ice to animals that are used to it in their native habitat and to other animals that will just have some fun with it. Independence Day cookouts are all about the burgers, hot dogs, and the birth of America. But did you know July 4th is also the birthday of Caesar salad? The salad, typically made with romaine lettuce, croutons, Parmesan cheese, anchovies, eggs, lemon, and Caesar dressing, is a versatile side. It was created on July 4th, 1924 in Tijuana, Mexico. But don't get confused, it's an Italian salad. Caesar Gardini, the inventor of the salad, was an Italian immigrant, and back then there were many more Italian immigrants to Mexico.
And as we head through this 4th of July, temperatures are warming up to the upper 80s, maybe even hitting briefly 90 degrees. But we also have isolated thunderstorm chances. Now, these are going to be pop-up thunderstorms. They're very short-lived. We normally see them in the summertime, so they're short-lived, they're non-severe, and they do pass by really quickly. But they could drop quite a bit of rainfall, so they could be still pretty disruptive. Now, because of those thunderstorms, it's going to add to the humidity in the area. So although temperatures are in the upper 80s, it's going to feel like low 90s by 1:30, but once we get a little bit later into the afternoon, it's going to feel like mid 90s, 95 Baxter Springs, Miami, Veneta, and then up to 93 in the Joplin area. So it is going to be a pretty warm, humid day today. And then once we get later into the afternoon and evening, when fireworks are going off, you can see humidity does start to drop back down, and so do those temperatures. So we've got a good looking forecast for today. A couple of random thunderstorms here and there, but not a big disruption once we get into the festivities this evening. But more scattered thunderstorms return on Saturday, and that's a look at your forecast.